There is plenty to think about before you buy a home computer.
Electronic games being heralded by folks in the trade as this year's holiday bestseller.
Children have skipped school or stolen money to play the games.
I'll be looking at the electronic game craze.
And at the end of the tape, I'll be back to tell you how to safeguard your computer.
Hello, hello, hello. I know. Okay. How the hell you doing? Yeah? Oh, is it? Yeah. It's Monday Brick Day. It was when I was first saying hello. We should be good now. YouTube has a lovely delay, and we're also streaming with... Actually, you might be muted. Say something real quick. Ah, there it is. All right, there you go. See?
They all missed my opening joke. How am I supposed to be the color commentary if they can't hear me, man?
I know.
Even with two people, we still messed this up.
You know what? I'm trying. I have excuses this time, okay? As you mentioned, new OBS update, which broke a lot of my stuff that I'll have to go back and fix. Because ironically, I think our episode 0 will have slightly more production value in that regard, but I'll be manually doing it other than this intro. Secondly, you may notice a giant disaster behind me. That's for good reason. I'm in the middle of completely renovating the studio. And so everything's in boxes as I am doing a lot. And so, yeah, it's a mess. But we got a good episode planned. My music is way too loud. I love the backing track, but there we go. We Gucci.
Don't worry, there'll be more chill stuff in like a month.
Yeah. All right, so welcome back to JAMPACK'd, our bi-weekly, when there isn't events going on, news podcasts of sorts. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, we kind of benefited us a little bit here, not coming back for a couple of weeks because a bunch of stuff happened. And also you went to a show and potentially spent too much money, so now you have a lot of stuff to show off.
Yeah. We do got a lot. That do be true.
But yeah, let's I guess let's take it from the top, man. Just do a little bit of housekeeping first.
Yeah. I think that
what do you got? Nope. That's
right,
bonus round.
Whatever. Housekeeping
OBS.
So, as I mentioned, I'm doing a full studio renovation. When we move into, you two are very different volumes. Nothing in that regard has changed. What does 2 different volumes mean?
Yeah, let me listen to the stream.
I turned you up a little bit. On the bars, we're the same. I don't know. Will is louder? Oh, okay. Well, I can fix that. That's an easy fix. I can just come in here. There we go. Is that better?
I'm watching the Twitch stream right now just to hear.
Maybe I need to crank me a little bit louder. All right. So my audio situation is also in the middle of a full revamp due to the studio revamp. But as I mentioned, I'm just going to keep talking to test the levels. All right. When we moved into our house that the new studio's in and everything like that, there was a shed on the property, but it was like 20 years old and rotting and run down, and a tree was growing through it. And so this year we finally, thanks to some lovely tax refunds that we weren't expecting, got to tear that down, which was hell because we had to do it last minute because the shed was available 2 weeks early. But we tore that down and replaced it with the metal shed. It's ever so slightly smaller, but it's going to be enough space to store all the stuff that we have for like lawnmowers and stuff, but then move my little mini workshop outside for my soldering stuff, for my paint job things that I do. And so I got to move my entire workbench and pegboard out of the studio, which means I have another, I think it was 88 inches of desk that I get to add to this wall, which is going to add a lot more setup. And then this wall where my gaming stuff is just going to be a full wall of TV stands, which is going to be absolutely wild. I still have to build those, but I am working on the desk wall first. I went ahead and repainted the wall, and I am repainting the new desk pieces tomorrow or maybe after this show. And so going to be a lot more setup space, a lot new sets for the Analog Dreams channel, things like that. And so I am super stoked for that, but that meant that I had to box everything up and move it over here, and everything's kind of getting torn down. And so it's kind of a wreck, but it's going to be really good. And the whole space is going to be a lot more open. It's going to be rad.
Hey, you Analog Dreams? What's that?
Yeah. Speaking of which,
tell us about that.
I launched a new YouTube channel in the interim since the last show, which I did not expect to blow up quite as much as it did. And
there has never been
a... Shut up, me on the channel. There we go. It is called Analog Dreams, and it is a whole YouTube channel dedicated at the moment to AI art-related things. So AI art generation, video editing stuff. I just shot a video for that. Text generation, things like that. But the goal is to branch it out to be a little bit more holistic in terms of actual art. So like printing your work and how to sell stuff and all that stuff, because that's what I've been messing with the past couple months. And so it's going to be expanded beyond that, but it's starting with the AI stuff. And it's already blown up. Like, it's twice the size of Lost Saves at the moment, and if it keeps growing the way that it is going to make a significant impact in how I get to kind of run my little business here, which is part of the reason that it's awesome that I have this extra desk space we're opening out, because I'm gonna have a whole dedicated like art setup corner, which is a whole gonna be dedicated corner to run my glitch art PC and where I'm gonna record these tutorials for Analog Dreams from now on, and open that up so I have some dedicated spaces to help manage my ADHD stuff, because at the moment, trying to do everything on one PC just means I only do one thing instead of doing my separate things. And so the support on this channel so far has been insane, and I've got a lot planned. I was doing almost pretty much daily uploads for a week or two here, but with the changes and everything, I tried recording a tutorial last night, but I couldn't finish it. So got a couple gaps, but should be freaking awesome. So I will post a link to this in the respective chats if y'all want to go check it out.
Are you gonna do a build log on the new, I guess, satellite studio, we'll call it?
Yes, it's gonna be a little kind of mixed. I apparently can't send to the Trovo or Twitch chat, and now I can't see it at all. So thanks, internet. It's gonna be a little bit of a mix. So I started filming. I think I'm gonna do a standard like, here's the update to the studio kind of moving vlog, since everyone liked those so much. Once the big changes are done, I've got the MVC2 arcade one up coming in as well, so that might be a little longer out. But I'm going to do a standard video on that stuff for the main channel, and then for the Analog Dreams channel, it's going to be more like, here's how I built a crafty, artsy setup optimized for ADHD, because I've got a lot of organization stuff I want to put into it, because that's part of the reason my desk and stuff is always such a mess, is I just have stuff piled everywhere. And so I want to actually organize things and like make a cool video on that. So that'll be on the Analog Dreams channel as like a companion video once we get to that point.
That's good, because I just really wanted to see a video of you taking a stump out with the screwdriver. So
okay, I did not film that part, so sorry.
I think the only other bit of housekeeping we got is over the weekend we announced a bonus album. Just something just kind of came together. If you have been looking at the Backing Track Twitter account a couple weeks ago, we had asked if you guys would be interested in chill hop or something a little more chill, something that's a little less on the metal side, not necessarily related to it at all. And the response to that was pretty positive. So this is not a chill hop album. It's called Save Point. This is all piano arrangements, all original piano arrangements. It's just kind of meant to be like put it on and zone out and get some work done, or if your stream is something that would benefit from a little bit more of a chill vibe, you can definitely play this stuff.
I've been using it
but
as
it's all
background, like workshop, or as I'm moving stuff around in the studio, music the whole week pretty much. It's been pretty good.
But it's all completely original piano arrangements, and it's not a chill hop album. Now, we will eventually release a chill hop album next year, but this is just something that we were able to get thrown together this year. Wanted to release it. It'll probably come out like towards the end of the month. Actually, I think I gave the date in the tweet. Now that I'm thinking about it, but
September 23rd.
We'll have that out towards the end of the month, and then after that, sometime in October, we'll probably be doing Slayer Wars. That's just the new metal project. But yeah, look out for that, September 23rd. And then next year, if you like this stuff, next year we'll do some chill hop. And that's all I got from Backing Track.
Something very different for the releases, but something that a lot of people have been asking about. And I know at first we kind of talked about it, and it's like, well, that's not really what we're going for, but it's been pretty good. And so I'm looking forward to getting, people's feedback on completely different takes on certain things as well.
Yeah, like the original vision has always been the most or the highest quality rock and metal highest quality royalty-free rock and metal that we can bring to you. That's always been the original vision. Chill hop and this piano stuff, not necessarily core to that. So we are releasing it underneath a different playlist called Backing Track Presents. So anytime you see something called Backing Track Presents, it's just us experimenting with different genres that may not fit with what we're trying to do. Doesn't mean it's not from us. We made it. It's all us. It's different.
Yeah.
So, but still enjoy it. And that'll be, again, September 23rd.
So be there. We'll also ping everyone on Discord and things like that if you are in our Discord at discord.gg/EposVox, as you should be. I don't have text command set up either. Anyway.
It would have been broken anyway because OBS.
Yeah, right, yeah. By the way, if your audio is significantly lower than Will's, that is virtually impossible with how it's set up, but sorry, I will just turn him down a bit now because I don't know. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and jump into a couple of the title topics here, kind of keep the pace going, and that is through the web crawler segment.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, it did. So, one of the big things that I was actually trying to make a video on last night before realizing that it's still in beta and I had to apply to it, I'm chatting with the people about getting signed up for it, is the online video editing service. So it's like a cloud video editor where you upload your videos and then edit on the cloud, which is really cool for low-end PCs, by the way, because you don't have to do any of that work. It's called Runway ML, and it teased with a little Twitter video here.
This is a box.
Oh God. I don't want your audio. I just want a little trailer. They put in a text prompt for AI-based video editing. Now, a lot of people got a little confused because since it is based on the text prompt, it's not AI-based video generation just yet. But it is the premise of you can just type out what you want it to do. Although it's saying generate here, I think it's probably going to be pulling out stock footage or otherwise utilizing AI generative stuff. So that part is pretty cool, but most of it's going to be like typing in like, hey, I want this to be more cinematic, which seems a little silly as a seasoned video editor, but as a newbie who like doesn't know their way around the UI yet, doesn't know the exact terms for a lot of the effects, this whole editing suite, I was checking it out last night. Nope, stop playing music. Is dedicated to kind of accessibility and trying to make it super easy to understand for anybody. And so they already have a bunch of AI tools that I'll have a video on Analog Dreams about because they're really cool. But this new teaser for text-based kind of breaks down that barrier. Again, people like me I've been editing for almost like 20 years now. I don't really have a need to like plain text type out the edit that I want. I can more quickly do it by hand. But someone who's just opening up and just like, well, I want this to be vertical. I want to remove this thing. And they haven't used it yet. Like this is just a huge accessibility thing. And then the text to video idea that they're teasing is going to be really interesting. But I think at the first implementation of that specific part of it, which I think a lot of people were most excited for, is kind of a little ways off. But
AI
super stoked.
influencers when?
Those already exist. Corridor Crew made one, and it's mostly just like YouTube poop, kind of like diving into the creepy pasta version of it. But that was pretty cool. And then I forgot exactly who, but some company is actually using who was it? A company. There was just a news article that someone was using an AI powered influencer as their new rep. I'm not finding the article.
I mean, the corridor one is very impressive for how dumb it is. Like,
Yeah.
like they're trying to they're obviously trying to make it dumb on purpose.
Right.
But like you could do something with that.
Yeah. I mean, we already have so much innovation happening in the VR space for the VTubers and stuff like that. Especially, I keep waiting for the ability to super easily take an Unreal Engine meta-human into the VTuber space, and then you just have a photorealistic human. So there's already enough innovation happening there to control virtual characters on a stream or on a video or whatever. It's not going to be that far off to start connecting it to chatbots and voice synthesizers, because those already exist. Corridor was covering one of those as well, and those kinds of things. And that's where it gets really funky. I think the bottleneck to that kind of idea would be the combination of everything working in unison, because you have not only because it's got to figure out facial expressions based on what it's saying, it's got to read the chat and respond to the chat, it's got to present whatever it was actually doing in the first place. And so those are all entirely separate entities right now in the AI space, and there's no real easy way to interact with them in a way that would seem human, seem natural. But once we kind of get there, like, I could see it happening within a few years if someone set out to make that kind of thing. And again, obviously, the Corridor Crew already has something kind of there. It's just more for post-video. I don't want to eat a Pokemon.
I'm sorry, I was laughing at that.
What?
I don't know. Probably Bulbasaur would probably be pretty good. You know, you could get a salad and a steak out of that. That's pretty good.
Okay. All right. You went there.
Listen, you know, you put it on a plate in front of me, I'm probably gonna try it.
Oh my god. Of course you would. All right. Let's talk about some YouTube news instead of some Pokemon eating blasphemy. YouTube had their
Blastoise me.
Oh my god. Damn it.
All right, let's moving on. Changes to EDU.
Their EduCon, they're doing a lot more like in-person events to try to reach out to and talk to education YouTubers and things like that, and put out a big announcement about the next chapter for learning on YouTube. Now, before we actually talk about this, I want to preface this with the fact that YouTube had a big experiment running a couple years ago about what's called learning playlists, and they were entire playlists built around basically tutorial courses and an easier navigation through educational content. And they just like canceled it. They were like, hey, let's beta test this, got a bunch of creators on board, and then they just canceled it, and seemingly all the people who worked on that also just left. And so this is something different, and I'm still kind of salty about that because I wanted to be a part. Oh my god, Vanillish and Farfetch'd Duel. I wanted to be a part of the learning playlist so bad. And Slowpoke Tales, yep. But they are going a different direction with it now. They're going to have a dedicated YouTube player for educational environments, which has less ads, less distractions. I am kind of offended here. Without distractions like ads, external links, or recommendations. So you're going to be able to teach people as long as you don't use external links. That's going to be a problem for those using affiliate links who are linking resources to use for the tutorial, which is a staple of every video course. Those kinds of things that I'm concerned about, but it's a dedicated video player built around educational courses. They have some, animated GIFs here kind of showing some of the experience. But then the next step for this is you can sell video courses through YouTube. Now,
that's neat. It's like, not Masterclass. What's the other one?
Skillshare.
Skillshare, thank you.
And Nebula Classes, by the way. They're also introducing a quiz feature for it, or next year, built into the community tab, which seems detached, but hey. So this is really cool, but it has a kind of dumb side to it in that it has the same issue that a lot of YouTube features have, where if everyone gets access to it, then they're going to have a massive quality control issue where anyone can go make a paid course, and YouTube kind of has to deal with the support of people who are getting ripped off or don't feel they're getting their money's worth or just getting outright scammed. Or they make it super restricted where no one has access to it but like a handful of creators where they're like YouTube Red Originals or something. And then who are they really helping by making this feature? And that, like, neither of those outcomes seems desirable, but I don't know what the solution is because curation is kind of required. And so it's one of those things where, like, I may end up not getting access to it, and I'm going to be salty about that. But if I did get access to it, that probably meant that anyone could do it, and then there'd be a ton of really crappy, like, YouTube would just be full of $50, like, terrible courses, and then lots of people demanding refunds, and then YouTube would have to backtrack because they can't handle all those refunds. And so I don't know. I don't know where the balance is for that or how they're going to pull that off, because there is a ton of great, you know, education-focused YouTube channels out there, but I don't know.
I mean, let's get down to brass tacks here. When can I get my ninja course on there? I need to know how to stream.
And how to stream everywhere now.
No. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Are we getting to that topic already? Are we getting there?
Yeah, I didn't even notice it was on there. Might as well.
I
There's
wasn't
your segue.
Sure. All right. All right. In case you missed it, Ninja.
For the first time ever.
Formerly the world's most famous popular streamer in the world / Mixer's superstar, has announced that he's discovered the concept of multi-streaming.
And he's the first one to do it.
This revolutionary, changing the game concept called multi-streaming.
No one's ever done it. You people on Twitch and YouTube, it's never happened before.
Nope.
All the people on Trovo, you don't exist.
Nope. No one's ever multi-streamed before. I don't know why he's off center on this couch in front of a plain wall. I don't understand anything about the video itself.
It might be really comfy in that spot. Who knows?
Everything about this is just so
These
weird.
are the questions that you can figure out by getting the Ninja Masterclass.
So, the issue isn't this, other than, as you may have seen my threads on Twitter of my hot takes of just like everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of people are acting like this is some big thing that's going to make multi-streaming like huge, when virtually every small streamer has to multi-stream to find an audience or has to post on. I think what gets me more is not necessarily every smaller streamer multi-streams, but every smaller streamer posts to multiple channels. And what happens here with a lot of these big streamers, because Pokimane just did a similar thing, Doc just did a similar thing. I'm doing YouTube, Twitch, and Trovo at the same time too, right? Is a lot of them haven't even been posting content to those other platforms, and they're acting like they have to like stop, take a break, do this big announcement instead of just posting videos, when everyone else has to do this to grow. So to act like it's this big shift is weird to me. And also, again, I made my first Restream tutorial probably a year after it came out, but I made the tutorial in 2016. It's been a thing the whole time. And this isn't even like, oh, Twitch has updated their partnership. No, he just got rid of his partnership to do it because he's filthy rich. He doesn't need a Twitch partnership, and whatever other ways he has to monetize can be made back way better by just having more viewers. Like that has been my argument for about 4 years now, ever since I started multi-streaming, is that for most streamers who aren't completely entrenched in Twitch where they're entirely dependent on it, at which point that is a very dangerous position to be in, and I'd recommend branching out anyway. For every streamer who has some diversification of audience or isn't just fully dependent on the on the Twitch revenue, you're gonna make more money in the long run by having more viewers. If you have dedicated sponsors, having more impressions on those ads and possibly getting more conversions on the ads you run in your stream, be it the little lower thirds for your merch or whatever, affiliate links, or actual in-video commercials, as I usually do during Streamer Newz and some of these shows. Getting more viewers is worth more than whatever pennies on the dollar ad revenue Twitch would pay you. Services like Patreon and OnlyFans and even YouTube channel memberships sometimes take less cuts than Twitch subs. You don't have to split tips 50-50 if you just use direct tips anyway. Like, if you're in the position not to be locked into a Twitch partnership, you're really kind of going to be a lot more free. And it didn't make sense to me when Ninja and Shroud both left Mixer, and then when Doc got banned from Twitch, for them to just go crawling back to a basic partnership on one of the other platforms. Like, for Ninja to go from $30 million Mixer exclusivity contract to basic Twitch contract, because as far as we know, he was never given more money like his Mixer one or anything. That's a serious downgrade and locking down your business after the fact.
I suppose. I mean, he still got paid, so there's that. But
well, yeah,
like,
by Mixer, but that's what I'm saying is he had
right.
the $30-40 million from Mixer. He could have just immediately been like, all right, Mixer's dead. The way he's doing it now, I'm everywhere, and just raked it in on all platforms while he was still at a kind of high peak, rather than just kind of fizzling out and doing a basic Twitch thing and everyone's just like, oh, okay. And the same thing with Doc. When he had all that momentum after coming back from getting banned on Twitch, instead of just doing YouTube, he could have been like, I got kicked off of Twitch, but now I'm everywhere else. And like, also raked it in. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
It seems like they don't. Well, at least maybe that'll change. Maybe this will change in the near future now with Ninja doing it. But it seems like they looked at all these different verticals and they just used it. They just saw it as like a disposable place to put their content. Like, I'm just gonna put it here. Whatever it does, whatever. I only care about this one because this is the real one. But that seems to be the way they treated it. When really, any one of them could blow up.
Right.
Maybe they all blow up. That'd be cool.
And every platform, like, it also kind of sets you up as a free agent for like some platform to start offering you big money if it seems like you're driving people there. And it would be kind of awkward to be like everywhere and then back to one, but like as long as you timed it right, that'd be a good bait to get a lot more money, or to promote one more over the other, or however that would go. And it's weird to me. I don't understand the like financial economics of big streamers, because they make filthy amounts of money, like more money than I could ever imagine in my life. And they spend most of their time streaming all day, every day. So it's not like they're overspending it with some extravagant lifestyle when we pretty much see them sweaty in a chair 24/7.
There's two questions from the chat that I don't want to get lost here. Kai Slate over on Twitch. Most streamers don't. This isn't really a question. It's more of a statement, but something good to piggyback off of. Most streamers don't know how to engage with one community, let alone several across multiple platforms, and that is very true. Those people should continue streaming to just one platform, I think, until they can figure that out. Until they can, learn to engage with everybody. I think that focusing on one is probably fine, but if you have aspirations to grow, adding more can't hurt.
Yes, if you're growing and can't figure out how to juggle it, that's a problem. I have someone right here helping me juggle it. But for those bigger channels, they're not like you don't.
That's
watch
not a problem for them.
You don't watch a Ninja or Doc stream, and unless you're giving them money, I actually expect them to say something to you personally. Like,
I mean, I watch enough Shroud where he has his chat on screen. Like, because he'll sit with his chat on screen for 30-40 minutes at a time, just talking to the stream, and like you can see it's just flying by. He can engage with it, but he's just picking out like odds and ends here. Once you get to that point, that is the best case scenario that you can hope for, is that they just pick something out. But if you're just throwing like some random comment in there, like, you're probably not going to get seen. It's not trying to dissuade you from talking to them, because maybe you would, but it's just kind of how it is.
But that's
the
why
other
you
thing,
bring on people before we get to the second question. Like, that's why you bring on people. Like, when you're I don't understand especially with Ninja's old stream room that the Red Bull people made, where he had the freaking Ursas and like multiple sets that he never used. I don't understand how you get to that point and you don't have help, because
Need a producer.
yeah, a producer, someone to switch scenes for, like, whatever. And it seems like they just, like, especially with the clip that was going around, which I'm not going to play on here, but of Ninja just not realizing that you could stream to other websites with OBS and things like that, like, that people are memeing on. Like, the fact that so many big streamers effectively stopped learning, like, years ago once they didn't need to anymore is kind of sad, because it's costing them career opportunities, potentially, or either just making them late to them. And also, like, all they had to do was bring on someone to keep up with it for them, or like juggle it for them. Like, if you can just have someone picking out chat messages that you respond to, like they do during WAN show or something. I don't know. I don't understand why there's solo operations that just seem late to everything, instead of using that money to expand your empire.
I mean, yeah, you're making money hand over fist as a solo act, and you get it in your head that you can just continue to be a solo act. But if you ever decide to take it to that next level, that's hiring staff. You know, you can up your production simply by having another person in the room to bounce stuff off of, or just simply run the scenes, something like that. Make it a little,
like,
little more
business.
snappy.
That's like basic, just growing a company. Like, what do you need $12 million a month for? What was the second
Good question. The other one is so Uncle Ninja is back on streaming. He never went away. That was a
Oh my god.
that was that was a promotional thing. I don't want to set you off on a rant, but that was very clearly.
I'll try to provide this as neutral as possible. The part I left out of this whole thing was that 6 days prior to this announcement, Ninja supposedly rage quit off of his stream, saying that he was going to take a break, and made this whole scene about needing a mental health thing. But it was about as transparently a marketing thing as possible. First of all, it was like very poorly acted. Like, it was like, oh yeah, I got to do this now. All right, man. And then, like, in every wording about him not streaming anymore, he had to include or where. Even, like, if you're in the middle of a rage quit and a nervous breakdown, you're like, yeah, man, I'm not going to stream anymore. If I do, it might not be here. Wink, wink. Like, no. And then immediately, all of his profiles changed to some MySpace just went through a breakup teenage thing of his profile picture's gone, and he's like, user not found, I'm so lonely. And then was very clearly teasing that he was going to YouTube or something else, and all of this.
It was in very bad taste. Like, it was framed like a mental breakdown.
Which,
with the amount of people that actually go through this every day, like, streaming burnout is a thing that every single creator that I have ever seen, that I've ever enjoyed watching, every single one of them, they've all experienced some degree of burnout. It's not something to mess around with. It's not something to make fun of or use as a promotional tool. It's just, you know, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, it's just like, there are ways to make light of it, but you don't just pretend to go through it to promote your relaunch.
Yeah.
And I guess he didn't have anything big to, like, relaunch with, like Doc getting banned, so he just, like, kicked himself off. I don't, like...
You know, the funny thing is, just, dude, he is the biggest streamer in the world, bar none. Let's, like, just...
You don't need...
You don't need a gimmick. You just say, I'm not streaming on Twitch exclusively anymore. Yeah. You can find me everywhere, and the same articles would show up without the stuff we're talking about.
Here's how he could have done it. If he wanted, like, perhaps in his head, he wanted to make some sort of, like, statement about burnout or something. First of all, before I get to the good side, if you go through a massive, like, rage quit moment in a stream and you are completely burned out and you need a break, you don't come back 6 days later scaling your output even more. You're not like, man, I'm overworked and bored and tired of this and burned out. Let me just do 7 times the number of, you know, streaming locations and chats to keep up with and tech to juggle. No.
Let me go further beyond.
Yeah. Yeah. But all he could have done, like, some sort of statement about, like, hey, just streaming to one platform is really intense, and, like, it causes burnout in plenty of streamers, and I think the move, the next paradigm shift, whatever, is going to be multi-streaming, so you can scale down the amount of time you're streaming and the amount of frustration that you have, but you still reach more people. Like, there was a way to do it and still make that statement or that reference or whatever, and not just be like, I'm breaking down, I gotta quit. But follow me on my on my other platform. Yeah. I don't want to harp on it too much because I already ranted about it on Twitter, but it's just
mental health is serious, folks. Don't use it as a promotional tool. That's the summary.
I continue to not understand this man's career. But let's take a break from the topics for a moment and get to our unboxing segment. Even though we're not kind of unboxing anything, but we'll get there.
Will the button work? It does!
Just doesn't automatically switch back yet because the advanced scene switcher deleted all my macros in the update. So, I have a bunch of stuff to show off today. First and foremost...
You go to the solo cam. I got somebody at my front door and I'll be right back.
Oh, hell yeah. Somewhere. Yeah. So first and foremost, the weekend right after our first test episode was the weekend of RetroWorld Expo. I got to go up to Connecticut, hang out with a lot of awesome gaming and retro gaming YouTubers such as Mark and Corey from My Life in Gaming. I got to see Bob from Retro RGB. I got to see Beast. I got to see Artemio, who made the 240 Test Suite and MD Fourier. I got to see, oh my God, there were so many people. A long list of people. Lon Seidman, Norm from Gaming Historian. There's a long list of people. One of the Mr. developers, she was awesome. A lot of people, got to hang out with them, got to go out on the show floor. A couple friends took me out to an actual Italian pizza place and we went game shopping. And so I have a giant games haul from the convention. And I know the convention was a couple weeks ago, but I've been saving this pile of games before I start sorting them and logging them so that I can tell you about my recent games haul. So we're going to talk about that for a second after I make sure I close out all the stuff that we don't need anymore. All right, so some of this is from the actual game floor, or show floor. Some of this is from the game shops that we went around Connecticut to pick up. So it's going to be a mix of both. I will try to kind of sort out which is which. Actually, I can do that as we go here. They're mostly kind of put together. Yeah, okay. So from the show floor, what I don't have visible, I also picked up, I need to switch my camera angle back here. There we go. I also picked up, what's it called? The Sailor Moon games for the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Someone had repros on the floor because they weren't really available in the West. So I picked those up for my wife, which was pretty rad. But then on the show floor, I got Demon's Tier for the Nintendo Switch. I got the full like Nintendo 64 style box for it with the retro edition. Came with some like character cards. This is a gauntlet style game. So a little isometric action RPG. You rank up your character skills, collect loot, that kind of thing. I've been obsessed with playing the Gauntlet arcade recently. And so it also came with a misprint of the sleeve, so I get to have that as well. I haven't actually opened it yet, but it looks freaking rad. So I had to pick that up directly on the show floor. I got some PS2 games here. Actually, there's a third. Picked up the original Teen Titans game for PS2. Doesn't look super great, but it looks like it'd be fun just to go back and try out. I never actually got to play this growing up, so pretty cool to play the OG Teen Titans. They don't get enough respect. I got Summoner 2. Nice little action fantasy RPG. Classic PS2 where there's just like all these games you may or may not have heard of in the fantasy aspect. And then with the PS2, I also have a PS1 game I want to highlight. I have officially completed my my Digimon World collection. Will's back, by the way. I officially completed my Digimon World collection. So I had 2 and 3 already. I now have Digimon World 1 on the PS1.
Oh, I have that as well.
I talked this dude down for it. He had a seal, well, not a sealed, but like a copy that was minty fresh with the trading card, and he wanted 110 for it. But this one was next to it with the crack case. The book was kind of worn out. I was like, I don't really want to pay 110 for it. I don't really care about the trading card. So I think I talked him down to like 80 on this, which is still high, but not like, it's been hard to get a hold of this game. So that's the OG for the PS1. And then I also got the last one, Digimon World 4 for the PS2. So I now have all 4 Digimon World games. I can jump in, start playing. I've not played these in a couple years, but I remember loving the hell out of them, and they have been incredibly hard to collect for. Like, stupid hard.
I guess Pocket Monster related, or adjacent. There's one game that I have always been trying to find anytime I go to a retro show, and it's Monster Rancher. I remember playing. I remember renting that like every weekend, and I would just throw like a CD in trying to get like a rare monster out of it. And it wasn't until like years later I discovered how you could get like the rarest, most powerful monster. It was cool. You could, if you've never seen it, you played this game and then you generated new monsters with any CD that you put in your disk drive. But there was like a list of predetermined CDs that you could look up.
It was like the OG concept for that little scanners handheld one where you like scan the barcodes. Yeah. I played it once
very cool
as a kid, and I had a couple buddies who were obsessed with it, and I always wanted to play. I have also had difficulty finding it. Like, no one talks about it anymore, and I feel like it was huge back in the day. So,
of course, I would get attached to the one that's niche.
Also picked up a repro of King of Demons for the Super Nintendo. Cool little Metroidvania kind of thing.
Kai Slade over on Twitch mentioned box games. Like, yeah, this is limited run. Some of this stuff is limited run, right?
Yeah, actually, the Demons tier is from Special Edition Games, which is a publisher that's just doing that kind of thing. The box games are just repros that a booth seller would do. Just put on like the Sailor Moon carts were like custom little pink carts. This one's just like a fresh, counterfeit Nintendo cart, but it'll play on real hardware. Ironically, it has more trouble on fake Nintendo systems like the Retrons and stuff, but the Super Analog NT and the official SNES would work fine. I also got Pulse Man for the Sega Genesis. This was also not released in the West. Another repro, but
sorry, I was grabbing stuff from my.
You're good. Pulse Man for the win. Been dying to play this thing. What you get?
I was just saying, like, you want to go to a retro game show and just pick up overpay for a bunch of stuff that is old. Feel free.
And see, so I ended up in a funny situation where I had almost an entire suitcase to fill because my first flight was on the Southwest. They had they have this new budget tier that I didn't realize you're not allowed to carry on for. And so after I packed my carry-on, I'm like, oh shoot, I can't actually take it. And so I had to put it in my suitcase, which took up half of my suitcase. And so then I had all that to fill, and I ended up still being able to put my carry-on back into my suitcase with all the games that I bought. Like, I still could have bought way more than I did. But then I missed that first flight anyway. That was fun. On the PS3, I got Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire. This looks like an awesome PS3 era Gundam game. I've played a lot of really bad ones, and I've played a lot of really good ones. And there's a new Gundam SD game that came out.
Which one is that again?
Crossfire? Mobile Suit Crossfire?
I think that might actually be the good one. I think.
It's always a toss-up. It's always
there's a bad one that's on PS3 that was really bad.
Yeah.
Like it was a launch game, and it was.
And there was another one that was like a Warriors-like game where the first and the third one were great, but the second one was terrible, and the second one was the one I picked up from GameStop. And to this day, it is one of the only games I have ever actually returned to GameStop for their like 30-day. If you hate it, you can return it. I returned that within 2 days. I was like, this is the worst game. But they have a new Gundam SD game out that's actually supposed to be really good. Like, it has the little chibi Gundams, but you also get the like full-size ones too somehow. And it's supposed to be really, really good, so I need to look into that. Got Time Crisis 4. Can't resist good old Time Crisis. Some of these are going to be from the shops we went to around the convention as well. I got Brave, Search for the Spirit Dancer on PS2. I was just kind of going for stuff that didn't have boxes and weren't worth a lot that I didn't have in my library. That might be fun, because the PS2 has such a massive library. I got Agents of Mayhem for the Xbox. I don't even know if this is still playable, because it's like an online-only game, but...
It is still playable.
Okay.
They updated it so that you can play it. Just
looks like a Saints Row-y, Crackdown-y kind of game. So...
It is a perfectly okay game.
I got Lego Worlds, mostly to like try to play with my kid or something. It looks like a little... It looks like that Cube World game, but also Lego and Minecraft, so... Seemed like an investment for my kid. We got a spammer in the chat. That's fine.
I'd take care of it.
I got the Terra trilogy, and these are always dumb, but it's basically like 3 kind of almost Atari era games where they're just like 2 colors. Looks fun. Going through a few more PS4 games here because they are super cheap. By the way, if you're looking for games right now, Xbox One and PS4 games are easy to get, which is kind of dumb because they're forward compatible. And so they're still playable games now, but they're being treated by like GameStop and stuff as last gen. So I went to GameStop to pick up some Millennium Falcon phone chargers that I got on super sale for like half off. And I had to go to 2 different GameStops. And in them, they had 4 for $20 bins for PS4 and Xbox games. And so at both stores, I had to pick out 4 games. And so I got the Terra trilogy you saw, and then I got Need for Speed Payback. I don't think I owned this yet, so I wanted to check it out. I know it wasn't very good from what I heard, but that's fine. I got Star Wars Squadrons, even though I don't know that I'll ever get PSVR, but...
You don't have to play it with VR. In
Yeah.
fact, I would recommend not playing it in VR.
Yeah. So there's that. They had a lot of PSVR games in there, so if you have one, you can get those super cheap now, but I don't see a point in investing in that. I'd rather get the new Quests or whatever. I got Knack finally.
Oh, the best game!
Best game! Got the best game!
Oh, Knack!
I got Ghost Recon Wildlands. I never actually picked it. I might have it on Steam, but I'm more likely to play it like sitting down at a console. So I hadn't actually picked that up. And then this is out of the case for some reason, but I got Dissidia NT for the PS4. I know it's not as good as the PSP one, but I want to check it out.
It's not?
From what I heard at launch, it wasn't. It might be. I know a lot of people at launch were like kind of disappointed, but
I just learned something.
I love the hell out of Dissidia on the PSP. It is basically, for if you're not familiar, it's kind of like almost like Smash Bros or Tekken for Final Fantasy characters. Like, it's pretty wild, but this one has some like RPG elements to it too, but it's like a big, at least the one on the PSP was like a big cross, so you had like Lightning versus Cloud, and it'd be like a action fighter game.
I always thought that game, the PS4 one, was a remake of the PSP one, because I have this, I could be wrong, but I have this like thought in my head that when they announced it, it stood for new technology, and then it was Ninja Theory because they're the ones that helped develop it. So I could be wrong. I'm not like the biggest Dissidia fan here. I'm trying to remember.
NT. I gotta find out now.
We'll do that after stream.
That's fine.
But what do you got? What else you got?
That's funny. On the tech side, for the main channel stuff, I have a couple things to show off real quick here. So, once the setup, or once the studio's in shape, of course, because that's going to be awkward showing the big background. But I basically have a giant webcam comparison of all the new webcams to show off. So I have the new Nexigo. They have a 4K conference cam, and then the new Iris 4K cam that does HDMI and USB. That LTT did a sponsored stream with. I have that, just got that in today, as well as one of their previous ones. I got the Insta360 Link, so I've got their new little OBSBot knockoff, effectively, but it's supposed to be really, really good. I've got the Lumina webcam, which was made like by former Apple or Google people or something. There was a big Kickstarter.
I remember sending you the link to that like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it took forever to get it. I got the Anker C300 from a while back. Finally got that in for review. And then I've got the Dell AI one that I still haven't covered yet. So I'm basically just going to do a giant, like, here's all the recent webcams. They're awesome video.
YouTube already has 360 video support, right?
Yes.
It would be really cool if they figured out a way to let you hook a 360 camera in a live stream with a static scene. So like you could drag around the webcam to look around in the scene, but the regular scene is still static.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Also, then the people that are doing stuff off camera probably need to be a little bit more on their toes. But
it could be like half of the VR videos you see where it's only like 180 degrees. It's not the full 360. So you don't get to see the production crew. You just get like a wider field of view.
I'm just going to turn the camera around and look at the back of the wall anyway.
I have 2 more tech-related things. One, I can't tell you about, but I will say a streaming company sent me a new product that's coming out soon that I can't wait to cover, and I'm very excited. And then in this box, this wasn't supposed to get here today, but I have something very special. I have one of the few that are actually in the wild outside of a pop-up shop.
iPhone 14, I knew it.
Oh, God, I wish. I wish. Jesus Christ, I wish. I've got the LTT Screwdrivers!
Ooh.
So, they sent me a regular one that you would get just retail, and then they sent a Creator Edition pack. And so, they've got even, like, Linus's signature on the back, which is kind of goofy. Actually, it's on the back of the normal one too. But this one comes with like a crap ton of bits, which means I bought extra bit sets probably for no reason, but that's fine. And it's got like the story of them making it, and obviously you can go watch their video on it and things like that. But I have been so incredibly excited for this. And in fact, I just spent like 3 hours yesterday installing outlets in the new shed workspace. And I could have really used the ratcheting screwdriver that wasn't a piece of crap for that, because that was a pain in the ass. So this is the unboxing of the Creator Edition. Had a little, I got purple pink. Yes. They chose the correct color for me. So they did different specific colorways for specific creators, which is really rad. Oh, and this package comes with 2. Normal black on black with silver shaft, and then purple pink on black with silver shaft. This is wild. How do I, there we go. Ooh. Oh. I know this is the weirdest thing to like demonstrate on stream. Like sitting there, you know, the little tiny screws for outlets that don't want to like go right, and your screwdrivers are always too big, and having to just being able to go. Oh, that would have been so satisfying. Got the big grip in the back. Does it unscrew? Does it pop out? I forgot. Oh, look at. It's like a Covenant, like, or like the clone, the droid ships in Phantom Menace.
The Kyber container for the lightsaber.
Oh yeah. Or like the ODST drop pods or elite drop pods or something. Magnet fits. Woo! That is
cool.
Nice.
Now, when are they doing a power drill?
I think during one of WAN shows or something they got asked about doing an electric one, and Linus had a very long-winded explanation for that, but effectively no.
It's probably a lot more expensive, and
oh yeah,
you know, I don't blame him for wanting to shoot that down quickly.
And like his thing is with these kind of functional projects, perfectly balanced. Anyway, with the functional products, he wants to like solve a problem with
perfectly balanced.
So.
You couldn't let that one get by me.
He wants to like make sure whatever he's doing is solving a problem with a specific thing, and he said like he doesn't use enough, you know, electric screwdrivers to know what that problem would be and to be as dedicated to it. And so I appreciate that. I don't think I'd have the attention span. Like I would love, there are a lot of things that I've seen, especially after watching them do a lot of their merch stuff. There are a lot of things where I'm like, I want to make a thing that solves that. And I have one. I'm holding on to it, not talking about it publicly. I have one, but it would be incredibly expensive to like pursue, so I don't know that I will. But like,
yeah, it's really cool that you're gonna, and then you're gonna.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, but like between the upfront costs, like I don't have $100 grand just to make a mold for something in the first place or whatever. I don't know that I'd have the attention span to like stick with it for 3 years to see it come to fruition. Like especially in the age of 3D printing, where like I just designed. Do I have a short one? I don't have an easy one to grab. I just designed because so I bought. We will get to topics right after this. I am so sorry. A few years ago, I bought these freaking quasar tubes. They're basically like fluorescent replacements, but they're LED and they're color accurate and they don't flicker and blah blah blah. I've never really used them. They are not super useful. They don't even come with dimmers. They're not battery powered. And I, not long after, got actual like RGB light tubes that are infinitely more useful. And so these have always just been like workbench lights or like backdrop lights or whatever. And so for my workbench and, you know, workshop setup in the shed, I want to just like mount these up above and have like super high quality light for video while I'm working on glitch art projects and stuff. And so
those are just normal flat lighting?
Yeah, they're just 5600K white. But I have no way to like mount them without crazy clamps and stuff. And so I just last night designed and 3D printed little slots that slot on and I can screw into the wall and I can just mount them where they need to go. And that took me like 30 minutes. And the same thing with like they're doing little magnetic cable harnesses and stuff like that, except they're having them injected molded and stuff. And I'm like, while I'll never be able to sell millions of them like LTT is doing, I'd much rather just design it on a 3D printer, fire it off, and then be done with it than spend years getting plastic made and fine-tuning the knurling on the shaft. And like, I love their dedication. This is not shit talking, but like, I don't think I could do it is what I'm saying.
Like they're making something for mass production, a product for people to buy. If you 3D print something in like it looks kind of rough, but it's still functional, it's totally fine for you because you made it for a reason. It's supposed to be functional.
Yeah,
not
like
pretty.
I sell some 3D printed stuff on Etsy, and like I'm doing a new one that should be pretty cool, but I'm gonna like spray paint it to cover up some of the 3D lines. But like, if you want it to look like a polished product, 3D resin printing kind of gets there, but overall 3D printing's not really for that.
Right.
Anyway, got some more topics we can cover back in the internet, as it were.
Why don't you?
Nope.
Ooh. Oh, no. What you got there?
YouTube
I wasn't sure what you brought up.
is finally letting you convert clips to shorts, which is freaking rad. I don't think they have a whole lot of like reframing capabilities, like some of the services that let you like move your webcam to the top and all that, you know, like the combo and things like that. But they're getting there. And this is also important to me because clips on YouTube at the moment don't exist.
Don't really do anything except for just function as a way for you to say, look at this cool thing.
Yeah.
And you send it to somebody.
They're not clips. They don't exist as a piece of content on their own. It's just a time-stamped link to the VOD.
Right.
You can't find them if someone makes a clip of your video unless they link it to you. There's no clips of my channel view like on Twitch. They don't save as their own video. None of that.
Yep.
And so this is a way to finally turn them into their own pieces of content. And so for that alone, I am freaking stoked.
Because I have tons of clips on Twitch, especially of VODs that have long since expired.
Yeah.
I just want the clip. But, you know, in this case, a VOD's never expired on a YouTube stream. But in this case, like, if it gets taken down for whatever reason, all that clips are gone. So this is great. This is awesome.
Yeah. And so it's also kind of our first big hint that they're still working on live features. Because after Fwiz left a few months back to go be CEO of some crypto garbage project, they kind of stopped communicating for a while. And it was been kind of concerning because he had been spearheading YouTube live streaming stuff for years. Like he had been really pushing them to do this as a former machinima guy himself. Like he had been really leading them. And so I was kind of concerned when he left that they would kind of drop it or like be less focused, and they've been pretty quiet. This is our first big like, hey, we got a new feature, it's time to talk kind of thing. And so I'm very excited to see them continue investing time and energy into live related things. You playing drums over there?
No, my candle went out.
Gotta have the romantic mood. Speaking of romance,
I like candles, guys. All right.
Cyberpunk 2077 has mods, finally. Well, official mod tool. I'm super stoked for this. I haven't even... Okay, that's not true. I think I've launched Cyberpunk once to, like, benchmark something, and then I didn't even use it. I haven't played it yet. I've been dying to play it since forever. And so, between all the updates, and now there's modding tools, and a new expansion. They just also announced a new expansion that correlates with the anime that came out. No, not screensavers. I forgot what expanders. No, I forgot what it was called.
Hey, hold on for a second. I think the stream might have dropped.
No, did it?
Well, I saw the freeze on our side on ping, and now I'm checking to make sure everything else is moving. Okay, yeah, we're back on Twitch, and I think YouTube is good too.
Okay.
All right, let's run that back 30 seconds. You wanted to get into Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I have not played it yet. I've been wanting to get into it. Obviously, it had tons of issues at launch. You blah, blah, blah. You don't need me to refresh that. But between all the updates, the new modding tool to add in extra functionality, play with it, you know, can't launch Skyrim without installing a bunch of mods. Maybe Cyberpunk will be the same way. It's called Red Mod, and then they have the new expansion to go with the anime that launched. It seems like a really good time to get into Cyberpunk. And so I am incredibly excited, and I am preparing myself to lose a bunch of hours into it. I'm currently... well, for context, I go through waves where I like don't game a long time when I get invested in work and things like that because how my ADHD works. So like I haven't really played games other than a couple Splitgate matches and whatever I played on my flight to Connecticut since July. And so I've been on like a gaming hiatus, and then I already spent a bunch of money to get back into Warframe. And so I want to get that, like, ride that little high wave for a little bit of playing Warframe, and then I think I'm going to hit Cyberpunk pretty hard and get through it and experience it in a fresh time that is not tainted by all the launch drama and launch issues. And so
I've been watching one of my friends play it in a Discord Go Live session for a couple of days now, and it looks a lot better. Like it looks like they cleaned it up significantly. The thing I had always been waiting for is not just the performance stuff, but just the amount of bugs that would occur like from mission to mission just seemed like such a bummer. One of the first things I saw was, and this was at launch, mind you. I'm hoping it's fixed now. But like one of the first things I saw was he had to sneak into a warehouse that just had, you know, guards posted up everywhere, and there was a couple of different ways to do it. And he had to grab, you know, a security code, or he could hack the guy at the counter, or he could sneak past the camera. Plenty of ways to do it. And he thought, oh well, I'll block this street where this delivery truck is driving around on a path, and then I'll get into the back of the truck, and the truck will drive me through everyone. Great idea. He calls his car to block the truck. The car spawns inside the warehouse, triggers everyone, and drives out the front gate. But none of them see him, and he's able to just walk past all of the guards. All of the guards' pathing was just completely broken. It ruined the scene.
Yeah. That's the stuff that would really bother me, because like you want to be immersed, and I don't usually complain about immersion a ton, but like, that breaks it.
Yeah, he's been playing it on and off for the last couple of nights, and it's looked really good. I haven't seen anything crazy like that. There's still some wonky stuff with like pathing, like allies snapping into position so that they can start their scripted walk sequence. Yeah. But you know what? It's Cyberpunk. Maybe you have some bugs with your eyes or something.
That's it. But yeah, seems like a really good time to get into it. And by the way, if you haven't seen it, the Cyberpunk PC build with NerdForge and Linus Tech Tips, that has awoken a creating desire within me that things have not before. And it's gonna get weird. But like that was the most beautiful PC build ever. Like,
about to get weird.
It's about to get weird. Especially because like I can just 3D design and print a lot of stuff instead of using crafting materials. I can like import assets from Unreal Engine and start printing them. Like, it's gonna be dangerous. Got a couple more topics before we got some kind of gaming things we want to run through here. Patreon laid off their entire security team, presumably to like outsource for money saving or recession proofing or something, but that's always a giant red flag. Like that's not good. I haven't. Some people swear by them and are like huge fans of them, and maybe it's because I never did a big push for Patreon and never built that up. But like, I've never really liked the Patreon team that much as a general entity with no person being specific or anything, just because they've had a constant history of making these weird changes on the like, or trying to make changes that are kind of anti-creator, like when they tried to get rid of the $1 Patreon tiers because it would charge everyone too much and things like that, and then some of the decisions they've made behind the scenes and now stuff like that it's always just kind of like, especially because Patreon doesn't need to be a platform. It's a feature. YouTube has it now, Twitch has it now, Discord has it now for me.
This announcement sounds exactly like a corporate decision that was made from the top to save money. Like, yeah. It's more than likely just, hey, this team is like, there's probably nothing performance driven by it. It's probably just that team was very expensive, and they saw that they could maybe very quickly spin up and replace them with something else. That's how it looks to me. Yeah. It sucks. It's like, yeah. I don't want to say like that's indicative of them going with like a worse option. But it sucks. People lost their jobs over this.
Yeah, people who probably worked there for a while and were like super stoked to be a part of this thing, and they're just like, hey, we found an alternative. And it's an unfortunate, like, because it probably is, like you said, to save money. So it probably is the whole like recession preparedness, because we saw the same thing. Stream Elements laid off a bunch of people who had just built up a whole bunch of features. Clearly they were doing well. Clearly it wasn't like, you guys suck or aren't doing good enough, you're fired. Right. And so there's a lot of morale that's lost there, both on the team side but also on the user side, when it's like the people who built the cool stuff aren't going to be building cool stuff anymore. It's kind of awkward. And the same thing like with Avery Media pulling back all their North American PR people and confusing people, because apparently I had said previously that they canceled their existing partner program and started up a new one. Apparently that's not true, and any existing partners that were partners before need to just reach out to their new people to get added back in. That sounds like a backtrack to me, honestly, but like, it's that kind of confusion that happens when you just suddenly get rid of an entire team that interfaced with everyone that causes a lot of problems for everyone involved, and then that sours the taste, or the I guess the taste, but like the air around that brand or that company or whatever, and it's just always a bummer to see, because in many cases it probably didn't need to happen, but I don't know. It's also an indicator of the economic times that are projected soon, but too many companies, this is just editorializing for a sec, but like too many companies scale up really, really fast and don't consider the people who they're going to be like laying off in 6 months because they can't sustain them. And I just hate that whole model of startups and new companies and stuff, and it's why I never really want to grow outside of my own backyard, because it makes me so uncomfortable. And yeah. Welcome to late stage capitalism, I guess. Anyway, Epiphan, this is just an email I got. I didn't bother getting the link, but they relaunched some of their hello, cursor. That was weird. They relaunched some of their capture cards that I covered in 2015 when I was still living with my parents. And they didn't really change the specs. They just added an audio jack. So that's
cool.
Fascinating.
And how much are they?
Like $600.
Is that
HD.
how much they cost then?
Yes.
Cool.
So I like Epiphan as a company. They make cool stuff, but like this was weird. I'm like, where's your new cards? Their highest spec capture card for like a dedicated USB capture card is still 4K 30 from 2016.
Maybe they're just trying to get rid of their stock, I guess. I don't know. Maybe
weird. To be fair,
probably
like,
an easier way to do that, but
their customer base isn't necessarily like a Twitch streamer. They set like their capture cards are on like the space station and stuff, but like it's still weird to me. I don't get it.
Right.
But whatever. Right. One more streaming news before we talk a couple games things to round off the show. Twitch has removed hosting,
and everyone's mad.
And yet no one really noticed, or wouldn't have noticed, but I don't know.
I would love to know, like, while you run down this topic, I want to put this question to the chat. I would love to know how you used hosting. Tell me how you used hosting in the chat. I'm going to pick some stuff out. Go ahead, run this down.
So, they have removed hosting from, the host channel manual action as well as the auto host. That's going to be replaced by just showing suggested channels in the player. And you can actually tweak this a little bit in your channel settings. This is effectively how YouTube works. When your video ends, it'll be like, here's some other videos to watch. It's kind of how it should be. I wanted to like hosting a lot. I actually tried using it a ton in my early Twitch days when I was a full-time streamer for like 6 months. When I was doing that, I tried to use it a lot. I like the concept, and I don't think there was anything wrong with the concept. The problem was that it completely overrode your channel. So, like, if I linked you to twitch.tv/EposVox and I was not online, but someone I had in my host list was, twitch.tv/EposVox effectively did not exist unless you knew exactly where to click and clicked around to find it. And even then, it would keep taking you back to the host. Like, it was super stupid. But I love the idea of, like, building up a stream team or a little, like, stream community and hosting each other, or, like, it was rating before rating. Like that's what it was. Like you would link someone's Twitch channel, send everyone there, and then you'd go offline and it would auto host them. And that was the first form of rating before they added it as a feature. But like the fact that if I'm not live, I can't link someone to go follow my channel effectively limits the only way you can grow on Twitch, which is sending other people to your Twitch channel. And so to me, it was always just like really poorly implemented, and it could have been an easy fix. I don't understand why they didn't just fix it. They're kind of taking the Google approach of, we're just going to neglect this feature into the dirt and then remove it because no one uses it anymore, instead of just fixing it. But I honestly can't say that I care that it's gone. Because
it's like we got a couple examples people were calling out here. I would occasionally host another channel to take a short break to deal with family stuff. That's from Ryan Mattinson over on YouTube's chat. We got Turbo on the YouTube chat. I host a show support for my favorite small streamers. Lich over on Twitch brought up a good point. It was often used to host big events, usually more reliable than doing it through Discord. These are all great points. But, you know, they're also, unfortunately, niche points because nobody used it. Like,
yeah, it was a super niche thing there. Something I saw Knackers bring up on Twitter is that some people were saying they used it to watch someone else's stream and then chat in the offline chat on your own chat, which seems like a really counterproductive way to do it. And also, that's what Discord's for. Twitch never really makes it easy to chat in your own offline chat. But also, Twitch made it so repeatedly difficult to access your own chat once you weren't live anymore and host was enabled that was inherently like a flawed way to go. And that's ultimately the problem. Like, even as an end user, if I watch someone's video and they link to me their Twitch and I'm like, I'll go check out their Twitch because I want to like scroll through their VODs or something. Or when I was doing stream reviews and I wanted to review people's streams and I'd click their link to their Twitch channel, knowing they were offline, instead of being presented with the list of their VODs to like scroll through and look at them and figure out who I just clicked a link to. Instead, I'm presented with someone else screaming in my face that I can't get rid of because they're hosting. And I don't want that. No one really wants that on Twitch. That's not the same thing as video recommendations.
This is something else I had seen on just scrolling around on Twitter, looking at the topic of it. People stating that, you know, that they thought they were getting some kind of growth aspect out of it. And it's not that at all. Like, you could host somebody. It's not like you host somebody and then search, like, let's say I host Shroud. I'm not going to show up in the search history.
Yeah.
You're not going to see me streaming Shroud or hosting Shroud. You're going to see Shroud. Why would you come click my page to watch Shroud?
Right.
Like, it seems to be how people, or at least some people, saw it. It was just not a very useful version of what rating it currently is.
Yeah.
Rating is the real way it should be used, or at least the real feature.
Yeah, it's like the people who thought you could gift a sub to Shroud and then Shroud would come check out your channel. It's like,
hey, what's going on? Who gave me a sub to this channel?
Oh, Shroud subbed to my stream. What's up, Shroud? Hey! Like, it didn't work that way. But, yeah. All right, we got 3 gaming topics to wrap up our show today about 3 completely different franchises. First and foremost, well, which one do you want to start with?
Well, I have nothing but mean things to say about Assassin's Creed, so why don't we do that one?
Oh, all right. Wow. Go for it.
Well, Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft announced 4 new Assassin's Creed games, or 3 new ones.
Yeah.
But like a whole platform for them to live on.
Yeah. Multiple new games.
I guess it's not mean things about Assassin's Creed, more like mean things about Ubisoft. Like, they are just so good at announcing great ideas and just not delivering on it. Like, hey, we're gonna make a classic throwback Assassin's Creed. It's set in feudal. It's set in China. It's gonna be like the classic Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2 style gameplay for mobile.
Oh,
We're gonna make a sequel to Rainbow Six Siege for mobile. We're gonna do a brand new, all new content for Sam Fisher, Splinter Cell. We're gonna do new Splinter Cell content for the first time in 10 years as DLC for Wildlands. They're just so good at announcing the great idea and then just kicking it down the stairs. Like, it's just no chance for it to succeed. But with that said, like, you know, Assassin's Creed Mirage, by all accounts, seems to be a classic throwback Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 style experience. I can't say whether or not that's accurate because they didn't really show any gameplay. And even when they do show gameplay, it's hard to tell these days with Ubisoft gameplay trailers. But that seems to be that, because the promo they did after it, where they talked about it, it seemed like they were setting it up very much to be like, this is a classic Assassin's Creed experience. And the reason I say that is because then they teased Assassin's Creed Project Jade, or Project. It's the one that's set in feudal Japan. They specifically called it a next generation Assassin's Creed open world RPG.
Yeah.
So, they're trying to hit it at both ends here. They're trying to give you the classic experience, but also giving you the RPG stuff that they've been doing for the last, 5-6 years. I haven't been a fan of those. Like, I like setting up or watching like the AI pathing, figuring out where someone's gonna go, just get in there, assassinate, and get out. The stealth game. It's a stealth game. I don't want to play a Assassin's Creed as an RPG. It's like Witcher Light. I'm not into that. Yeah, that's my negative takes on Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed games. I hope those games are good. I really do. I hope Mirage is excellent, but boy, am I just not thrilled with the last 10 years of Ubisoft announcements.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Ubisoft as a company. A lot of the people there seem to be terrible on the same like Blizzard kind of vibes, and so that sucks. I really enjoyed the first couple Assassin's Creeds, and then I watched my girlfriend at the time play through Brotherhood and Revelations and stuff, and like those were really good. Once they started making them bigger and stuff, it kind of felt like too much, and I took a break for a while. I was like, these are big games. I don't have a huge investment. The old school like linear style was more for me. But I've heard really good things about Origins, which I played a little bit on stream back during my Intel days forever ago. And then I picked up Valhalla for PS5, but it was one of those I never installed because of space, and so I've recently installed it. I've been claiming all the Twitch bundles, the Prime Gaming bundles for it, so I can play it at some point. I'm excited to dive into it. But like going back to the super old school format where like, because with some of the new ones, I don't know, it felt like they got away from the point of what Assassin's Creed was in the first place, and that felt weird to me. Like it's just like this whole random RPG that isn't Assassin's Creed, and I'm like, why not just make that? Whereas I want the historical like detail, like climbing through ancient Italy was just so cool. And so Mirage looks awesome. Codename Red is the Japan one.
That's the feudal Japan one. That is more of a continuation of the current line of Assassin's Creed games.
Developed by the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team.
Yes.
And then Codename Hexy is the Blair Witch trailer one that I have no clue what this actually is.
Yeah, they didn't announce much.
It's just like a creepy camera angle.
But Hexy, from what I understand, is German for witch, so it's obviously going to be witch related.
Interesting.
And maybe witch trials, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what.
So
that would be fascinating. I love studying the Salem witch trial time period. I did a lot of my stuff in college on history on that. And then Assassin's Creed Infinity is the portal, the hub, whatever the hell that means.
I didn't even like just make a good game.
Yeah.
Like, don't stop trying to like make all these side things like Ubi Connect and Uplay and
there has
Assassin's
never been
Creed
a single hub
just
that connects all your experiences in a franchise that I have ever used or cared about, even for Halo. Like the old
Battlefield
Bungie
tried to do it. Like when you log into, I think anything
4?
Going all the way back to BF4.
Yeah.
You get like a overlay that shows all of your games. Any of the.
Yeah.
Hello. Here we go.
Upside down autofocus doesn't work great. I'm upside down too.
Like it shows all your games, but like, who cares? What's the point? Like, is this just a thing for me to log into?
Yeah.
Are you going to give me something to like a reason to log? Is this going to be like an Animus where I can explore it and find stuff that's actually tangible in the games that I want to play? Like,
the Dragon Age Codex where you could unlock stuff through the Dragon Age games, like that was cool. I didn't really have a reason to use it after I like read it once, but it was cool. But yeah, this just feels like a dumb investment to like find a new way to get money out of people that isn't. They're also trying to investigate standalone multiplayer experiences in the Assassin's Creed universe connected to the Infinity Hub. So maybe this is everyone trying to go for the Master Chief Collection model. Assassin's Creed doesn't need multiplayer; it just needs co-op. Just.
Hey, but I'm not gonna knock that either, because they did do that Assassin's Creed multiplayer mode in Brotherhood, and it was excellent. Like it was from the people that did the Mercs versus Spy mode for Splinter Cell, and they did a great job bringing multiplayer to Assassin's Creed, and we've not seen it again.
I didn't get to that.
It was really good.
Codename Jade, which is the first open-world mobile Assassin's Creed game featuring the iconic Assassin's Creed gameplay, but optimized for an experience with touch controls. Yikes! No,
don't want that.
I don't.
But like, great setting, good idea. Why is it on a phone?
Yeah. Apparently they have a new Quest DLC for Valhalla still, which is cool. They have a documentary coming covering the last 15 years of development, which I love that kind of shit, so pleased.
The book as well.
Ooh, sick. Yeah.
Yep.
So lots of cool stuff there.
It's not all bad news. I know that I'm like negative, and it's not all bad news. There is stuff to like there. It's just I'm just growing increasingly frustrated with like it's. I find myself to be pretty positive when it comes to Ubisoft stuff, but like I just want them to make a game that I enjoy, and specifically I want them to make Splinter Cell. Stop ignoring it. But
well, as Dan Vibes points out, I just can't wait until they accidentally release Assassin's Creed Persia, which will just be Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm excited for the Prince of Persia remakes if they ever actually manage to make them.
Continue that 2008 Prince of Persia that also starred Nolan North.
Nolan North as Jake Gyllenhaal as the Prince of Persia.
No, it was the one with all the colors. Like you were
not the movie one. Okay.
It was kind of like it wasn't black and white, but you were infiltrating like a darkness-filled world, and then you'd revitalize it, and it was. I thought that game was awesome. Unfortunately, you had to literally buy the ending as a DLC package. If you didn't buy it, you didn't get the real ending.
But
awesome. Aside from that, that game was cool.
I just can't believe they cast Jake Gyllenhaal as the Prince of Persia. But anyway, I am very excited for the Splinter Cell, I want them to make some Splinter Cell stuff. I'm very excited for the
Hex game,
Prince of Persia stuff, and the Hex. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, Halo.
Cool.
Halo. 343 announced
Halo,
that they still can't keep up with their deadlines and management, and they canceled split screen co-op, even though basically everyone and their mother has gotten split screen working now on even the base Xbox One, the VCR.
That's got to be so frustrating to whoever's the community manager or running the social media for them these days. Just like, hey, we're canceling this feature because of resources. And I'm gonna say it, I immediately thought when they said resources, I thought they were talking about the Xbox One, the original one. I'm thinking
I did too.
They probably just can't get it running on that. Like that.
I was like, yet
sense.
Another example why they need to stop supporting a VCR that barely ran Halo 5 and just make those older consoles stream. And instead, people are like, hey, we can run it.
Yeah, it's like I figured that they couldn't get it running on that, and they wanted to keep feature parity across the line. And then someone like literally an hour later was like, oh, it runs fine. Check this out. What?
So, I'm told that there's still some syncing issues and it still breaks stuff, but like it seems like they got 90% of the way there and just can't continue, or they can't, like Microsoft isn't going to pay them to continue. I don't know. It's really weird to see Microsoft's like biggest or second biggest franchise still just stumble so much. And then we also got news like today or yesterday that they're restructuring some of the leadership, seemingly not on purpose, not in reaction to this stuff, but because Bonnie Ross had to step down due to some family medical issues. And so they're making some other changes. Bonnie Ross had been with the franchise for 15 years. So that's going back to Halo 3.
Did they announce what the leadership changes were going to be yet, or just that they were doing it?
I honestly didn't recognize the name. It is Pierre Hintz is now the studio head, and then there were a couple other changes.
I would expect Joseph Staten to get bumped up.
Brian Koski is the GM of the franchise. Elizabeth Van Wyck will oversee business and operations. Not names we're typically familiar with the saviors of Halo that were all coming back, but yeah. I think Staten likes just being like creative director though, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've been playing through the single player campaign for the last week or so because I just sort of just didn't. It came out and I just didn't play it. And I've been playing it for the last week, and I gotta tell you, man, like it is the most Halo campaign that's come out since probably 3. Like, it's very, very good, and I can see and feel Joseph's presence all over that game. Like the other games just don't have that. They don't have that Halo feel to it. It feels like it's written by someone who maybe glossed over the notes of the other games, and just said, "All right, this is Forerunner of the Didact stuff." Like it doesn't
Back to Halo.
feel like Halo. It's
Yeah.
it's not it doesn't have to do anything to do with the rings or anything like that. It's just you know what? I got a perfect comparison. It's like the Transformers movies of Halo. Very Michael Bay, very big explosions, just kind of glosses over all the good stuff about the Halo lore. And then Infinite brings it right back to the basics. And I feel like that's probably because of Joseph Staten. If I'm overselling his role in that development of that game, I'll never know. But I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
From the trailers, like you start out Halo 5 and immediately it puts you in this cutscene and there's like, you're on a badass team of 4 Spartans, we're busting through the walls, we're the A team, yeah. And then on Halo 5 it's like, yeah, you're floating in space, we're gonna go find some aliens. It's mysterious and sci-fi, and like we got some stuff to think about, and we're gonna go fight the Covenant. And it's like, yeah, that's Halo, not we got the face of Mike Coulter and we're rocking it up and blah. Like I don't know.
Unpopular opinion.
ODST.
My favorite
great.
game is ODST. ODST is wonderful.
Yeah.
Let that
ODST
be your
is
favorite.
S tier. I want more like the stuff in Halo 5 should have been an ODST like game. It shouldn't have been the title game. Like that is like a break off ODST style game would have been great. But I'm told supposedly Frank O'Connor is gone from 343 as well, but I'm not seeing that. Like I'm told by somebody who would know this, but I'm not seeing.
That would be really big. He's been with the franchise since like the beginning, I think.
Yeah. I'm not seeing it, but like the person who told me it would know. Oh.
Huh.
Alongside. I don't know.
Franchise, yeah, he is the franchise development director for Halo at 343 Interest. Yeah, wow. If he actually left, that's big. Huh.
Maybe not. Okay, well, they're making some shifts. Honestly, with it being a last minute like leadership change, I don't expect that to be like saving the franchise or something. I don't think it's gonna work out that way. I think they still have a lot of struggles in front of them. Their new roadmaps for like updates for like Forge and normal and player reporting are 6-month windows to hit those targets still. Like the next one is from November until March. That's not 6 months, but that's a lot of months. Like that's just I'm so frustrated because as you said, looping back to what you said, admittedly I haven't finished it because I got so bummed out by everything else, and usually I start up multiplayer before I go back to the campaign, and every time I did that I just quit, so whatever. But like the campaign, by and large, reviewed by everyone, is like one of the best Halo campaigns they have made. And yet everything else around it has just, like you can tell, as you said, like Staten came in and reconfigured the campaign and made it awesome, and nothing else was done around it. And they still had, like, it's really frustrating because Halo at one point in time was the biggest franchise in the world, like gaming franchise. Like 2007, Halo 3's launch was one of the biggest gaming moments on the planet at the time. And now
people got out of the way for those launches.
Yeah. And these days, like, a lot of people don't even know what Halo is. Like, oh, Master Chief, that guy they added to Fortnite. Like, it's hard. And my wife pointed out.
I think that what they need, and this is unfortunate but like, they need their God of War moment. They need somebody to rework what it means. Yeah, it was, but like it's still just a shooter in the end of the day. It's a really good one, like the single player that is. And you know, I like the multiplayer a lot too. I'm not trying to poo-poo any of it because I do think that that game is really good. It's just got some outlying stuff that's causing problems. But like it needed its God of War moment where it was just like taking everything to the next level, dialing it up to 11, and just it's just not that. The game's not that.
And every time there's a win, they end up losing it. Like whenever the Forge leaks came out and people got leaked builds of Forges, like suddenly my entire Twitter feed is full of like creativity and people being stoked making these awesome worlds in Forge, and it's like that's what Halo needed. The rest of the sandbox, this is awesome. And
when does that come out?
And more delays, more bad news, all of that just plummets back. And so it's hard. It's
It's hard
Yeah.
to be a Halo fan in current time.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna get into like the content drought stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily buy into any of that. Like the game has maps, the game has modes, the game has a single player campaign that nobody is playing. Like I don't want to go down that path.
Was it you who posted about that achievement?
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
just to that point, like this is anecdotal at best, but like I'm playing the single player campaign and I'm just exploring with the grapple hook. I climbed up on top of one of the banished towers that's early on in the game, and I found this shrine to Craig. If anybody was following the early betas of the game, there was a screenshot of a brute that had like no facial animation. He just looked real dumb. You just search Halo Infinite Craig, you're gonna find him right away. Well, they snuck him in as an Easter egg, and there's a shrine to him on top of this banished tower, and like it has a whole like album that he apparently toured with, and like a poster and everything. And I looked at the achievement to see how many people had unlocked it. It's less than 5%. Less than 5% of people found this. It's
For a game that's
it's not
always
really
had-
that hidden.
Yeah, for a game that's always had these little Easter eggs that you're supposed to know to go do. Like, oh,
It's really not that well hidden. I just went up there because I was enjoying the vibes. It was like the environment was cool. I wanted to see what else I could find, and there was a skull up there to reward me. Less than 5%. That's crazy. Less than 5% in a mainline Halo game.
yeah, that's wild. And Dan Vibes points out, the funny thing is Halo Infinite made me start playing Splitgate, and I decided that this will be my shooter for the near future. Thanks, Halo. Perfect segue, because
Oh man.
1047 Games also announced that Splitgate development will be ending this month after they release their content update at the end of the year.
So is this like ending, or just like putting it into maintenance mode essentially?
Putting it into maintenance mode. So they said they'll still do security patches, whatever they need to like keep it running, and they don't have any plans whatsoever to take the game down. And I've already I've made the devs swear up and down that they will put in some sort of LAN mode or bots or something if they ever have to take the servers offline so it stays playable. But it is kind of disappointing. I had literally just gotten into their little VIP partner program thing in July, right as I stopped playing games for a little bit, which was really cool, and I'm still like a part of, but like I just got in and they're like, hey, we're ceasing development. But it was clearly a very last minute decision. Like they were just having town halls where they were taking development feedback, trying to implement new ideas, and it has become clear that the game that they are working with is not able to keep up with like what they want to do. And in the end, I released a whole video on Lost Saves about it. I will try to link it in chat here if I can get to it to break down my thoughts more clearly. But in one sense, it is actually very good news, as it shows the success of the game, because the game started as like two dudes in college just kind of casually building a game, and they built a very small game to start with, and it blew up. They now have effectively, I think it's like 50 or more people working at the studio now. They're like basically running a AAA studio around this game built for like two people to work on. And so adding in systems to it and stuff is becoming a problem. And so
I've
they
been bootstrapping a pet project for however many years.
And so they decided that wasn't a good idea anymore, like I said, this was clearly a last minute thing where they're like, all right, this is our limit. We need to just make something new. They said they're working with UE5, and so honestly I think someone was already working on and was just like, here's our demo of Splitgate in UE5, and everyone was like, that is so much better to work with, let's move. And so they're still making a new game. They're making a new game set in the Splitgate universe that will be revolutionary, not just iterative, but it'll still have guns and portals and everything you love from Splitgate, and it'll still be free to play. They're making the end, the battle pass they're releasing at the end of the month free, since it would be kind of shitty to be like, hey, we're shutting the game down, pay us. So that's pretty cool.
I think this makes sense.
Yeah.
And it is disappointing, but it's also not, they are not the first ones to just say, we've done what we can, and start anew. There is another game that comes to mind that maybe some of y'all have played a little indie game called Rocket League. They had a previous game called Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Powered Battle Cars. it is pretty much Rocket League, but they had taken that as far as they could take it, and they started over on a new engine, rebuilt everything, and wouldn't you know it, it's a better game.
And Splitgate already has such a like cult following success to get them the studio they have now, the fundraising they've done and stuff, that I think if they don't lose all of their momentum and everything, like, excuse me, building up to it, the new game will, maybe not as big as Rocket League, but you know, it'll have that boom moment.
Yeah.
But because like there's been a lot that I've brought up and a lot of other people have brought up with regards to like things that need fixed or addressed in Rocket League that they can't do, or Rocket League, damn it, Splitgate, that they can't do. And like one of the things, like super basic, is the general art style and coherence of whatever the universe is supposed to be. They started out with this like classic Unreal 2004 style where it's just like we have random characters and, you know, engine assets and whatever thrown in here, and you can't really blend it together, but everyone already paid for it, so you can't just take them away. And so even that kind of basic stuff, you kind of need a bit of a reboot to really lock down.
They kind of kit bashed a bunch of assets into what you currently know as Splitgate.
And while we have seen that big studios don't always make perfect games, as we're just talking about, that even, you know, Microsoft's #1 shooter franchise can't seem to get their head on straight, I do believe that if they made this good of a game with 2 people, or it was a small handful of people for Splitgate 1, whatever the new Splitgate 2 whatever will be that much better, because they have such an ear to the ground for the community and such a hardcore involvement with all of that stuff, that I really think they are going to, like, really kind of nail it. I am terrified of them losing all of their momentum in the interim, because it's probably, I mean, what, at minimum 18 months? Like, realistically, if they're just starting, like, if they really just made this change now and they're just starting, like, it's not like they're going to have it in 6 months. Now, they might have some playable teasers of, like, here's what the gunplay feels like in UE5, and maybe that'll, like, drip feed people along, but that is my fear, is that they will lose all of their hard fought community momentum and stuff, and that might hurt.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, or maybe what if pie in the sky, what if they get a license to Unreal Tournament and their next game is the new Unreal Tournament?
Yes.
Yeah.
As the only developer with a success story in arena shooters in the past like 5 or more years, like, Splitgate hasn't shut down because they couldn't run the servers. Every other arena shooter that has launched has basically had to shut down. Like, this is the only arena shooter success story, and they're already on Epic Games Store, so they have some sort of Epic connection. Like,
Unreal Tournament was not killed by Fortnite. It's just, you know, it's just not popular anymore. Like, just because an old thing exists and a new thing comes out, it doesn't mean like it killed it. It's just, I mean, Unreal Tournament hasn't had a new mainline game in what, over a decade?
Well, they had an Unreal Tournament for beta build set up in the I think you can still download it and mess with it, but it was all like they abandoned it like right away. They were like, here's some tools that we were messing with for the next Unreal. Play with it, make your own stuff. Let's see where it goes. And then they never took it anywhere. And then as soon as Fortnite gained popularity, they just pulled all resources off of it. But I would love for them to get that license. Like that would be a match made in heaven.
It would be a good fit for them
to do the work. They already are building that kind of thing. Adding in the portals as like a mechanic rather than the dedicated thing would be cool.
The portals could be a companion piece to the teleporter, the teledisc. Heck, you could probably figure out how to do telefrags with portals. That'd be cool. I think I mentioned something like that on my Steam review, which I need to revise. But like, it's a cool idea, and whatever they end up doing, I hope they land on their feet and continue the momentum that they have right now. As you know, it seemed to have a rough start, at least from my opinion. I think that it had a rough early life as a game, but as of right now, it's pretty solid. Every time I've come back to it, I've very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, wish I'd put more time in the past couple months leading up to this announcement, but I'm still going to be playing it. Like I said, they have no plans to shut it down. They have a big content release coming at some point this month. I don't know exactly when, so I'm looking forward to still getting some matches in on it, using it when I don't have any other shooters I want to play. I want to answer one more question in the chat here from Slickshot. Getting some HD 560s tomorrow for gaming. Do you still rate them? I don't know what you mean by rate, but yes, I still enjoy them. I'm currently using the new Bear Dynamic stuff, but I do have... I can't show you them. I have the HD 6XX over here. I prefer the 6XX over the 560X or 580X that I had. But, oh, yeah. Good cans. Can't go wrong. All right. I think that's jam-packed. Extra long this time because big break.
Because we have time for it.
That too. It's a jam-packed show. Jam-packed full of stuff. LTTstore.com.
Yeah, and I guess, like, this is the second Monday episode, but, you know, people should let us know. Like, do you like this time slot? Do you want to see it some other time of the week? Do you want to see it earlier in the day, later in the day? Like,
let us know.
I think we're open to feedback. Just pop over to the Discord, let us know. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for watching. Time codes will actually be put in the description this time because I'm not trimming it, and that was a mess last time. Hope you enjoyed. Hit the like button, subscribe. Go check out Analog Dreams as well as the Lost Saves videos, and yeah, see you.
Bam. All right, looks like you're off on everything. Not YouTube yet. Wait, YouTube.